the videos of Powell going around basically saying we can't own Bitcoin. Powell was like, kind of crapping on it, saying, he doesn't like it very much. No, not doesn't like it any much. Basically saying, look, it's not a competition to us. It's a competition to gold. So, I think it's an uphill battle. But again, in regards to shifting the Overton window, connecting it with the news that we were starting up in the beginning of the show, this is crazy. We would not have expected any of this 4 years ago. So imagine where we're going to be 4 years from now. Anyways, I think here's the video of Powell saying just that.
Assets that have been buoyant. Do you see any value or benefit in the U.S. government building a reserve of Bitcoin?
We're not allowed to own Bitcoin. The Federal Reserve Act says what we can own, and we're not looking for a law change. That's the kind of thing for Congress to consider, but we are not looking for a law change at the Fed.
Ooh, he's not happy. He's not happy at all, man. I think he's like, oh my, is my job threatened? Like what's happening here? So yeah, I mean, that's the headwinds that Trump's up against. I think that, if you see this recent ominous bill that was trying to get passed through the House, and all the stuff that was added into it, the salary increases, it was just insane. The only reason the politicians are able to do this is because they have the Federal Reserve. The only reason the politicians are able to do all this madness is because they have the ability to print money. So to think that they're just going to walk away from that power, because that's what it is, and just say, you know what, now we're going to have to stay within our means. I think that's naive. But again, I think, as the Overton window continues to shift and as the adoption of Bitcoin continues to accelerate, I think more and more people are going to, open their eyes, and hopefully one day we'll get to a point of critical mass where there is enough political support to finally do what needs to be done, which is end the Federal Reserve. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this? And then we'll pass it on to Gary.
Well, yeah, my first take is I am so glad that the Federal Reserve can't own Bitcoin. I want them to be the last ones to acquire Bitcoin. Personally, I got into Bitcoin as the idea that this is a huge play against the international bankers and the central banks printing money. That is the problem here. This is why we're all broker than, our parents and their parents, even though we're working more than we've ever worked before. So I'm very glad that that is the case. Now, on to the Sailor clip. I think this is one of those things that we know is kind of the final boss. When a nation state does turn on the money printer to buy Bitcoin, I think that's like the last domino to really expose how weak fiat currencies are. And I think that it's probably going to happen a little longer than we think it will, personally, because I think that is just complete capitulation, and that's just admitting defeat. And if I was another currency, especially if it's the U.S., if the U.S. turns on the money printer to buy Bitcoin, I think that is a signal to the rest of the world. It's like, well, hey, why would we want the dollar if you guys aren't even satisfied and have conviction in your own currency that you are essentially going into another currency? And so I think that might be the final boogeyman. But we do know that, yeah, if a country does turn on the money printer to buy Bitcoin, it's game over. And I think this is, a double-edged sword. Obviously, I'm a bulltard. I'm sure a lot of people out there think I'm just like a number go up guy. But as much as I do like to see number go up, I also kind of feel like that one girl in the Matrix, where she gets unplugged and it's like, not like this, man. Please, not like this. This is not how we want to go down. But I think we did think, or rather, we've known that this was going to happen. So I am a little conflicted here, because obviously they turn on the money printer, they're going to pump the price of Bitcoin, but then that comes with other trade-offs, and then there's a lot of concerns that will follow, because hey, if it's the U.S. that turns on the money printer, then it's going to be the ossification meme is going to play out. They're probably not going to push any, new updates to Bitcoin. Or worse, if it's like Russia that turns on the money printer, or China, or et cetera, someone that is competing with the U.S. and world power position, then, us Bitcoiners might be turned into criminals, and, they're going to clamp down on Bitcoin. So as much as I love to see number go up, I am a little conflicted here. But we do know if a central bank or a nation state turned on the money printer to buy Bitcoin, I would argue that is like game over, complete capitulation, and this is going up forever. Like, this is not only just forever, this is going into S-curve adoption level. And hey, I don't know. We'll see if that happens soon. I think it's probably going to happen a little farther down the line than we expect, personally.
I agree 100% with that. Also, I do want to give a shout out to the 1,700 of you guys watching live. We're about to break 500 live viewers on YouTube alone. Shout out to 100 of you guys watching live on Rumble, and of course, our X audience as well. If you guys are enjoying the show, help us break 200 likes within the first 45 minutes of the show. We're almost at 150 likes. So smash the like button if you guys are enjoying the content.
Hey, Nika.
And of course, share the video. What's up, Opti?
Can I chime in one more thing before we pass it to Gary? I think the one thing I wanted to say is I think the biggest signal here is the fact that Jerome Powell is even being asked about Bitcoin. Just the fact that, you know, the head of the Fed is being bombarded with Bitcoin questions. Like, I think that is like a sign of the times right now, that this is the conversation exploding onto the mainstream. And yeah, he's probably not happy about even having to answer that question in the first place. So anyways, with that said, Gary, thoughts?
No. 100. That's what I was saying initially, Opti. Do you see the salt on his face when he was talking about that subject? Like, he did not want to talk about it. Gary, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Well, first of all, I got to tell Opti, I enjoyed your Matrix plug. Anytime you can work in a Matrix plug by mentioning Switch or whoever you want to mention, I always enjoy that. And to you, Nico, I don't think you can fire Powell from the Fed. I don't know that. I know Trump can't fire him. I'm pretty sure that his job is pretty secure, so I don't know if he's too worried about that. But I do have to say I agree with Saylor nation state, and that's going to make things go crazy. And I really think that we will see a nation state live doing it sometime during the year. For instance, let's face it, Russia is getting their ass kicked. Their money isn't worth shit. So what is the hell out of it? You've already heard Putin say that he killed. So they know that it's something that's there for the long haul. I would be surprised if we didn't see them, or if they just don't know about it. I mean, I really foresee happening sooner, whether it's Russia or whoever, than later. I would like to see the U.S. be the one doing it, though, personally. I'd like to see us control the digital currency just like we control the dollar now. I mean, someone's going to control it as far as a country, as far as that goes, and I'd rather it be us than another country. Just my train
absolutely.
of thought.
Oh, 100%. Of course. I think, we all live in the States. We're all Americans. So like, obviously we want, it'd be beneficial to the country. Now, the question is the administrative state, is the bureaucracy going to allow that? Because again, like what we saw this year was the legitimization of Bitcoin in the eyes of traditional finance. When BlackRock came in there, they introduced the spot Bitcoin ETF, which was approved in January. But what we're slowly going through is the legitimization of Bitcoin in the eyes of the nation state, right? El Salvador is a small country, but imagine if the United States goes in there and says, we're going to start buying, like, all bets are off. This thing's going to 1 million. Opti's going to disappear for many months. It's going to be absolute bananas,